Blah. Y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? You want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama? Aha! Just kidding. Y si tú quieres cambiar tu vida, if you want to change your life, then subscribe. Ching. And by the way, guys, I just published my first book called Shabbat in Chicago. It's about an audacious single mom who opens her heart and home to five adopted kids while embracing her Latino culture while being Jewish. And guys, today we have a very, very special guest. I had to bring him in the show. He's a motivational speaker and author. Give it up for the one and only Shawn. Woo!
Appreciate you having me. Appreciate you having me.
Oh,
yes.
It's an honor, brother. It's an honor. It's an honor. Look,
yes.
I'm getting nervous.
Wow.
But look, brother, I want to share with the fans and everybody. So this happened to me like a week ago. I went out. There was an event at Foundation Las Vegas. Foundation Room, my bad. And Real Vegas magazine, they were hosting it. And me and Chef Vic, we were like VIP guests coming in. Cool event. They had live music. And I bump into, guess who you know, Lindsay Velman, which is a real true friend of mine, of ours as well. And she's my Jewish sister. You know, she always got my back. And she was like, Yaakov, when you gonna sign my book? You know, I said, girl, you know, you gotta bring it first.
You gotta buy it and then bring it first.
Right. And she mentioned you. She's like, look, I have a brother. He's amazing. Came out with this book. I think you will love his story. And you two will get along real well. I said, okay, all right, let me, look into it. Crazy thing is, a week before that, Chewy and actually brought you up on the phone call, like conversation about you. Like, dude, you got to meet this guy. He's amazing. Wow. He's a Jewish brother like us. He got a dope book. You got to check it out. I said, okay, all right. I said, maybe this is a sign, two dots are connecting, Hashem wanted to permit it. So, I wanted to share that with you, brother.
I appreciate that. Yeah, everything is from Hashem. He connects the dots. It's Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence. He makes everything happen. He makes everything. Yes.
Oh,
so
man.
It's yes.
Oh, brother. I love it. That was deep. And brother, I want you to spill the beans, if you could share about, what made you wanting to write a book and not a movie, or, there's so many things you could have done, right, with your story, but what gave you the inspiration or the idea to make it happen?
So basically, so I was incarcerated for 6 years in prison, in New York. When I finally wrote the book, I was probably like 3 or 4 years into my sentence already. And I completely changed my life around. I went from becoming an armed robber, criminal, drug addict on the street unto a changed religious Jewish Orthodox man in prison. And if you go check out my book, or I'm on other podcasts, it gets in depth into the story. But so anyway, I have a workout partner over there. He's actually in the prison. He's actually was a ex-Haitian drug dealer or something like that. And he also has a crazy story. He wrote a book, and he used to tell me all the time, Shawn, your story is insane. You need to write a book, right? And I just thought to myself, oh, it's not that interesting, the story. It's, because when it's your story, you're not so interested by it, So I put it off. I was like, oh, I'm not into it. But eventually so what happens in the prison system is that when there's fights, or if somebody got sick from COVID or something, they would lock us in our cells, meaning solitary confinement, doors locked, 8 by 11 feet cell. You don't get out other than to shower a few days a week. And, so I'm sitting in there when they locked us in one time for a week, they locked us in, and I'm like, you know what? I have all this free time. Let me sit down and just write. It wasn't even about a book yet. It was like, you know what? I have so much to unpack, not even for the world, for myself, right? So I sat there. It took me 5 days. I spent like 4 or 5 hours every single day, and I wrote the whole book right there. And then what I did was I sent it out to my mom, to my grandmother, to friends, family, and to my Haitian workout partner, and they were all like, "Wow, this is crazy!" So they all loved it, and it took about 4 or 5 years for it to finally get published, but that's where the inspiration came from. It was from my workout partner, validating that my story was interesting, and I put pen to paper. I've always been a writer. My grandmother is a poet. I have some of her creativity, so I just that was pretty much it.
Oh,
How it came.
that's amazing, brother. I love that. For me, like when I wrote my book, I felt like it was like therapy. It helped
Yeah,
me to release my
that's
traumas.
100%. And I put at the end of the book over there, I said, I don't know if I actually published what I'm about to say, but when I wrote it, I put exactly what you just said. This has been a therapeutic experience for myself. If it doesn't, if the mission is to help at least one person, and if it doesn't help one external person, it helped me, which was which completed the mission altogether. Just like you said, it's therapeutic. There's something about putting your words onto paper, very therapeutic.
Wow, man, that's
Not
amazing.
your words, I'm sorry, your thoughts and your traumas onto paper.
Wow. No, it's
Yeah.
deep. It's deep, brother. I love it.
Yes.
I have a family member who he's Orthodox. He was very into the Jewish faith. Basically it's reverse. He very religious and very close mentor of mine, and he took the wrong route, got
Mm.
involved with drugs, and he ended up in prison, and he's still in prison till this day. But it's so beautiful when I see him, because in prison you can't have fire, so for Shabbat, lighting the candles. So what he does, which is so powerful, he
Mhm.
actually draws a picture of two candles,
Ah,
for Shabbat. So he says when Shabbat starts, he draws it out, and he goes, This is my moment of Shabbat." It's so
wow.
dope.
That's just a lesson, just like as a Jewish people, like it's so important for us to do the mitzvot, right? But when you can't do the mitzvot, right? When you're for some reason you can't, whatever it may be, you should do whatever you can to get as close to it as possible. And that's exactly what your friend was doing. He's that him by him doing that, he's doing the mitzvah. You know what I mean? Because Hashem sees, like, it might be his intentions might be so strong, it might be more important for him to do that than someone actually lighting the Shabbat candles. I've heard stories like that a lot in prison too, where people are just, unfortunately, you can't do something. You can't do a mitzvah, but you do something to remember it.
Yeah.
You know, amazing.
So I
Yeah.
had to share that because I feel like a lot of people they don't understand, like when you're away from family and
Mhm.
friends, it could be tough, man, because you feel alone, like
Yeah, for
when
sure.
when holidays pop up, right? You're like, man, I wish I could be with my family for Hanukkah, for example, right? And you just can't, you're just stuck.
Yes. Yes. 100%. And I that was my experience, every single day over there. Especially on the holidays, is that you know you're completely isolated from the world when you want to be with your family during the holidays. Or like me, I haven't started a family yet. I pictured myself starting a family, and It's yeah, it's tough, very tough, very tough. But I stayed steadfast in my belief and my trust in Hashem that, you know, he puts us exactly where he wants us to be at that given moment, you know.
Always, always. And I believe that Hashem will help us both find the perfect one, the one that
Amen.
will get us closer to, his mitzvot,
Yes.
grow with chesed. So I think we're getting there, brother. The time is
Yeah.
coming. I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow, but it's gonna happen. You
It's
say,
coming.
yeah, it's coming, brother.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to tell you. You say it.
Yeah, yeah. It's coming. Yeah.
Oh man, brother. But yeah, please too, if you can share too, brother, this is amazing, like the things you've done for the community, going and doing big talks,
Yeah.
um, giving lectures, being on podcasts, different podcasts. I saw you actually on the episode Meaningful People podcast, which is so cool because it's one of the biggest platforms I would say that represent our Jewish people. And
Yes.
I want you to, if you could share, if that's okay, on how you got involved in that podcast.
So that was very interesting. I knew that when I got out of prison that I have a crazy story and the story needs to be put out there to help especially the teenagers and the young adults, right? Because I'm an ex-criminal drug addict and there are many people that struggle with that, unfortunately. So I had a dream, a vision. I said to myself, I need to, okay, not everybody's reading books nowadays, right? Everything's on social media. So I'm like, okay, I need to get on a podcast. I need to be on a platform, a video platform to share my story. So I myself, I reached out to the Meaningful People podcast. Um, I reached out a few times, and they finally got back to me, and they said we'll make it happen. And I just, I happen to be in New York, um, in 5 towns where they do their podcast, and we made it happen. We made it happen. It was a pretty simple process, and yeah, I had the time of my life over there. It's amazing, amazing. The guys who do it are very professional. They know exactly what they're doing, and it was great. And I'm getting a lot of good feedback from it. A lot of good feedback. The podcast is really inspiring others, and it's helping others. Baruch Hashem.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, brother. That's amazing. Yeah, I saw you there. I was like, man, he got a nice suit. I might have to borrow it. I say he had a great suit. I say, man, my boy's doing good.
I came ready over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I see it. I was
Yeah.
like, dang, man, I gotta get one too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm
Suit
running low.
Supply. Shout
Yeah,
out, shout out to Suit Supply. They got to give me some sponsor money for that.
right,
Yeah. They're good. They're a good place. Good place.
brother. Can you do me a favor? You think you could read like maybe one page of the book?
Yeah, I would love to. So here's the book over here called Conviction: A Journey from Prison to Torah. Um, here's this page. It's like 3 pages long. It's called Rely on Hashem, because the first part of the book is the story, and then the second part are all the writings that I had while I was incarcerated that I wrote. Um, and this happened during COVID. So with the outbreak of COVID, we were confined to our cells 24 hours a day, coming out 3 days a week for showers, phone calls, and emails, hoping to end an already 77-day lockdown. I was terribly disappointed with the news that we had new COVID-19 cases here at Otisville. Instead of gradually coming off the lockdown, we were back to square one, solitary confinement. In my cell, in a rage and with anxiety, I cursed myself and my situation. I prayed to Hashem, pleading and begging him for guidance and strength. I looked into the Tanakh for answers, but nothing. But Baruch Hashem, through the infinite kindness and unconditional love from the one who created, creates, and will create everything, I was given an answer that Shabbos. After feeding my soul at the second Shabbat, meal, I stood and began walking back and forth in my 8 by 12-foot cell, contemplating life. During my contemplation, I somehow transcended to a spiritual realm that can only be reached through extreme suffering and with a true reliance on Hashem. In this realm, I forgot about my physical situation and realized two very important things. Number one, I am not where I am today in solitary confinement because of COVID-19 or any other reason, except that Hashem is causing me to be here for my ultimate good, and so that I be strengthened in Torah, Emunah, Bitachon, and service of Hashem. I was chosen to endure the difficulties of this test, which I refuse to squander, to be a faithful servant to Hashem, to heaven, to be his soldier, and to help penetrate the hearts of others to have an awareness of Hashem and his love. With this, I rejoiced a little, and my soul was a little more at ease. The second thought that I have, as I continued contemplating, I thought about how brokenhearted and in the pit of despair I had felt the night before after hearing the news of a new lockdown. Rage, anger, anxiety, and hate bubbled in my innards like a chemical reaction gone wrong. Even though I am composed of certain chemicals, I have a God-given soul, which brought me to my next realization. The reason for this rage, anger, anxiety, and hate was because I had put my hope in something other than Hashem. I had hoped that nobody would get sick and we would get off the lockdown, allowing idolatrous thoughts to enter my soul. Because of this, I was punished with great despair and devastation. I was now overcome with joy and content of heart.
Wow.
So, yes.
Oh,
Those were the two things. Those were the two thoughts that I had because we were locked in for COVID, like I was saying before, completely in solitary confinement, and for months, like 5, 6, 7 months, something like that. So I was on the brink of losing it, literally. Like, I mean, it's not psychologically, it's not fair to a human being. But I had two very strong thoughts, like I just read, that number one, Hashem puts us exactly where we're supposed to be, and if he wants me to be free or in prison or here or there, that's it. That's what he wants. And number two is that as human beings, we can't expect the future. We can't expect tomorrow. We don't know what's ahead. Look what just happened in Israel, just out of nowhere, boom. You think everything is good, and then boom, something can happen like that. So the best thing to do is to not expect and just trust that Hashem is in control.
wow, brother.
Yeah,
I gotta say, man, that reading, you can tell that moment was like it was a tough, part of your life.
for
And
sure.
a lot of people, when they hit rock bottom, the first thing they do when they panic, oh man, I gotta go out with my boys and go drink and just
Yeah,
wash it off, right?
yeah,
Or let me call this girl, or do something to distract them. But at the end, Hashem is just waiting for you to allow him to come in your life,
for sure. And I don't want to come off as like a tzaddik, like, oh my gosh, it's so powerful what you did, because I was being in prison. You're forced to not go out with that girl, to not go out with your boys to drink. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna lie. When I was on the streets before I went to prison, if I'm going through a bad day, my outlet is going to do drugs, right? So it was a blessing that Hashem put me in the prison, because every Jewish person, and I believe every human being, has to think to themselves, like, if Hashem puts them in a troubled situation or a tough situation, they need to see it as a blessing, because he's teaching you how to deal with life, right? It's like when I was a football player back in the day, if your coach yells at you the most, that means you're the best player on the team. He cares about you the best, right? So when Hashem puts us in a tough situation, don't be like, that's the last time a person should be like, oh, Hashem doesn't care about me, God doesn't care about me. No, if you are going through hell, Hashem cares about you. That's a fact. I can um how do you say that? I'm proof to that. I can say that, you know. So it was just a blessing. It was a blessing in disguise. And you're right. Yeah, most of the time people go through something tough. They want to go out and drink with the boys or do something wrong, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah, because when you do like drugs or drink liquor, right? When you're
Hmm.
depressed, you're sad or going through something, it they don't understand that it's temporarily you're feeling
Hmm.
better, but it does not relieve the pain forever. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's the illusion you get when you try to put drugs and money or liquor as your like you're oh it's my everything. It's
Yep.
not, you know what I'm saying? And you know something that really stood out, I thought of my cousin who drew the candle of Shabbat, right? He in prison, I told him one time because he'll call me sometimes, and um he told me, man, brother, you know, I'm good. You're still going to shul, and you know, anything you learn from the Rebbe's, please share it with me. I want to hear it. I said, of course, brother. I'll show you what we learned about the parsha this week. Okay, cool. And I told him something that real powerful. That story reminds me of Yosef in the Torah. He goes, why
Wow.
so? I said, because Yosef was in prison for like 12 years, and
Hmm.
what he did, he actually trusted Hashem, going with the word you said emunah in your book. He had faith in him. And
Yeah.
while these two guys, they needed help with their vision. Remember, they had like dreams, and he
Yep.
interpreted them. He said, "Please don't forget me." And you remember, and eventually
Yep.
he was able to come out of there. But as you could see, when he left, when he got out, he became this powerful. Um. Uh. uh,
Second in command, right?
exactly.
The Pharaoh.
Exactly. Thank you, brother. I
Yeah.
was trying to get the word. I was trying to get the
Yeah.
word. I was like, "What's it called, brother? What's it called?" I thank you. That was a
Yeah.
good. That was a good tag team. You know, tag
I
team.
got you. Yeah.
And it's just amazing, brother, because you know he became this leader. Not only
Mm.
that, he forgave his brothers, the brothers that betrayed him, that sold him to slavery. And
Yes.
you know, it's so hard as us as brothers to forgive your fellow Jew or your fellow brother, whoever it
Hmm.
is, sister. It's so hard sometimes because sometimes they do you wrong,
Yeah.
but you have to remember, if Hashem is willing to forgive us when we do
Hmm.
teshuvah, we should be able to do the same with our fellow man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
For sure. For sure. 100%. And just to piggyback on that, what you said is that um, anybody who's listening um, should needs to understand that, and these are words from, because I studied a lot in prison, and I studied a lot about faith, right? What it is to have faith in Hashem is that whatever happens to a person, whether whoever wrongs them, right, or whoever hurts them, as hard as that may be, that's Hashem's will to understand. That's Hashem's will. So, whatever happened in your life, you know, if you get upset, it's like you're getting upset at Hashem. You know, we have to have this complete faith that whatever comes our way is from Hashem. That's it. And the reason why, like, why a person might ask, why should we have these thoughts? Why should we have like complete faith in Hashem? Because if you have complete faith in Hashem, you're happy, you're at peace. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire, you can hate your life, right? It's all about faith in Hashem brings the most peace and tranquility to a person. And we need that. Every single person needs peace and tranquility in their life. And that's why a lot of times in prison, and most of my sentence, even though it was very hard, it wasn't traumatic because I learned what it is to have faith in Hashem based on the things that I read and the people that I was surrounded with, you know? So, um, and Yosef, he's like the epitome too. He had faith, big faith in Hashem, and and that's why he's able to forgive his brothers. If you don't have faith in Hashem, you can't forgive other people. So it's almost impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I got to share with you something really cool, man. It happened to me last week. So last week, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't go to Shabbat. Like I didn't go to daven, or I didn't go to shul. I can admit it. As a brother, I can admit it. I didn't go. I
Yes.
skipped. I skipped the day. But
It happened.
I had a reason. I had a reason, and Hashem understands, even though it's not a good reason to leave Shabbat, but I had a reason. And I'm like at the very end of the movie, brother. I'm not even the main character, but let me tell you, this is so cool. Before I got that role in that movie, I pulled aside the director, and I mentioned this in a wild podcast. And I was like, "Hey, director, I know you want more diversity. And according to acting world, like in movies, you're not supposed to talk to the director because he's busy with the
Wow.
producer and everybody. His mind is
Wow.
going crazy." But I'm like, you know what? This is my moment to shine. I
Yeah.
got there. I pulled him to the side. I said, "Hey, director, Angel." I said, I would love, I saw your email. You said you want more diversity in this scene, but can I ask you a question? How would you like to make history?" He's like, "What do you mean history?" I said, "How would you feel to be the first director to have a Mexican Guatemalan Jew in a film that has never been done?" He goes, "You're
Wow.
Jewish?" I'm like,
Wow.
"Yeah." At this scene, if I could wear my kippah to show the world that Jewish people come in all shapes and forms.
Whoa.
He said, "You know what? Let's do it. Let's add in the script, guys. Ready?
Ah,
Let's roll it."
no
Dude,
way.
dude, we did it.
That's
Why?
crazy. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Right? You
That
gotta,
is a beautiful story.
I had to fight for my right. And so check
Wow.
this out. The movie comes out, right? Going forward, right? The movie comes
Mhm.
out. Everybody's sitting down. UNLV, which is a big school in Vegas. Everybody's sitting down. They probably got popcorn, got the nachos. You see? They're watching this. The movie starts. The name of the movie was called Behind Closed Doors, okay? And my scene comes at the end. Like 3 shots. I'm walking in. You see a young, good-looking man with a kippah, Hispanic, coming in.
Yeah.
He sits down. And you know what's my last 4 words, brother? You want to guess what they were?
I'm trying to think of 4 words. Gamzilla Tova.
Oh man, that would have been good. That would have been good. You're gonna love this. It's I'm a survivor.
Ooh.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
dude.
that's dope. I like that.
It's a subliminal message that
Yeah.
people can take in different ways, and it's just so powerful because it relates today what's happening. So I felt like, look at that movie was postponed. I filmed it 2 years ago, about two
Wow.
years ago, and it came out last week.
Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing. That is amazing. And it's you're that's like very like brave and courageous, and it's just like very Jewish of you to do that. It's like because we could be we're the minority, the Jews, that when we're in the work world, um you know a lot of times we want to like hide our Judaism, like, oh, I won't say anything that I'm Jewish. And a lot of time you could be in front of a lot of non-Jewish people, and they could be talking crap about the Jewish people right in front of you, not even knowing that you're Jewish, right? But like for you to go out there and mention that to the director, that's amazing. And for him to go with it, it's amazing. That is amazing. I need to check that out. It's called Behind the Scenes.
Behind closed doors. So
Behind
the
closed door.
so the premiere comes out. I think it's gonna be on Amazon or YouTube soon. So this was
Okay.
just to show
Wow.
like the film, but that's why I felt like I know I missed Shabbat. I know it was bad, but I had to be there because when I walked out of that room of that whole movie theater, we're like, I didn't know Hispanics could be Jewish. You're the first Hispanic I met that's Jewish.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's like I broke these stereotypes because a lot of people, the reason why people think in a certain way about Jewish people or anybody in general, not only Jewish people, is because they've never got out of their comfort zone. They've only believed what they see on TV. So
Exactly.
if you believe what you see on TV and that's it, you never met a Hispanic or a Jewish person, you're gonna think whatever you see. But if you
Yeah,
go out and you do your homework and you talk to them, you go to a Shabbat meal, even something simple as that,
yeah,
you will be able to understand that the Jewish community is a beautiful community where they
for sure,
help each other out. You know what I'm saying?
for sure. And just to go off that too, like especially when there were times in prison where people told me like, don't show your Judaism, right? Because it can be dangerous for you. There's like all type of gangs and Nazis over there and stuff like that. And I told them like, I'm not hiding my Judaism. And from me like staying and being myself and not hiding, I was given respect for that, right? Because and that's like a lesson for all the Jews out there is like not to hide. Be the best Jew that you can be possible, because when you do that, you're given respect. And that's what it's not I don't want to necessarily say like that's what we need from the world, but for our own good, like we should be the best Jews possible, whatever that can mean, and we will get respect from doing that, for sure, for sure.
Most deaf, brother. Most deaf.
Yeah,
Well, look, the Zoom is about to kick us out, so I'm
yeah.
gonna wrap it up real quick. Guys, this is the Outlet to Reality, the oldest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Chit chit. Don't forget to check out my book, Shabbat in Chicago, out on Amazon. And also, I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the Outlet to Reality. My Snapchat is Take One Pass It, and my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And brother Shawn, where can my fans find you?
So they can find the book on ShawnBalva.com. You can see my name over there. And also, I'm on all the social media, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. It's conviction with a dot after the convict. So convict.ion, conviction, on all social medias.